Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week, from the 5th of May to the 11th of May. Yeah, my phone camera stopped working again, but I have roommates now that have old phones, and they have this phone so I'm very appreciative. Thank you very much. So I think it looks pretty good. But let's go to the videos that I thought were not good. Well, okay. This wasn't like atrocious or anything. This is a little. I'm bullying a little bit. Okay, this is not, but it's not good. I don't think. It's a video from Anime America, an OG anime YouTuber. They've been around for a while. I don't think it's just one person. It seems to be one person these days, but I would imagine this is some sort of coalition with other people, maybe some editors or something. I don't know. But this is a kind of a mashup that they did, Insanemania YouTuber edition. And they've done quite a number of these in the past. I think their oldest dates back like 3 or 4 years ago. And you can tell. This doesn't seem to have changed much. This is kind of taking the same sort of humor as like, the end of CinemaSins videos where they take like a clip from the movie and dub it behind some other reference, and they kind of make a joke like, hey Tommy, how's the peepin', or something like that. And this is essentially what they're doing with anime clips with various YouTubers like Markiplier and PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye, and a lot of ASDF movie, which is kind of like the format is very archaic. It's just really interesting that this is coming out earnestly these days. It's just kind of weird. It feels very old, and there's some novelty to it, I suppose. You can find some humor in it, but just like, it's like referencing ASDF movies like Welcome to Standing Up School, and like if like it's Hero Academia or something, I don't even remember it, just somebody falling down like, and you fail. It's just that, and it's a bunch of Markiplier, and it's a lot of the same YouTubers. There's not a very eclectic variety to this. The longer it goes on, it's 12 minutes of this, and it's the same with anime as well. Like it after a while they start using a lot of the same anime over and over again. And there's this it's kind of unfortunate, because like when you're doing a series like this, if you have an idea, something that you can kind of milk a bunch of times, I think it's better to have a through line of like a kind of a theme going on. Like maybe it's all clips of this one show, you just focus on one anime, or you focus on one YouTuber, which to their credit they have done before. They did an entire one with just Markiplier quotes. But that didn't stop this one from also having a lot of Markiplier quotes. Cool. And again, I don't think there isn't too much to say with it. I'm not sure if this is really warranting like a not good in that way. But it's just really weird to see this come out today, like this week, It's just strange to me. I guess not knocking the hustle. And if it's funny, it's funny. But there just wasn't enough. I mean, I feel like our medium has evolved a lot since then. And this is a YouTuber that's been on the platform for a while. So I'd imagine that they've kind of like evolved at some point. But there's just it's just kind of strange seeing somebody kind of still in this place creatively, having been on the platform for so long. They haven't evolved. Maybe there's other videos that they've done more experimental things or more ambitious things, but it's just very weird, and not very good. I don't try to knock a video because it's not funny, like that's the reason. But I mean, that certainly doesn't help. But like if it was funny, I think I might have a different tune, But what can you do? It's really weird. I usually really like seeing creators that are able to evolve or use the advances that this medium of video production and creation, kind of amateurish video creation has been able to spur on with other people. Like, how much YouTube are you watching that, like, are you feeling the motivation to improve? I mean, you know, of course you've seen enough YouTube, right? She's watching, you know, I would imagine, considering this is a YouTuber edition. But, you know, that there was just that vibe that I was getting, and it was getting me kind of reflective. So I was like, yeah, interesting. Nah, it's still not good, though. I got a request to do, and I do have 2 requests, but I want to spread them out a little, you know. So I'll do DBZ Blue 2 next week. But I wanted to do this one from Azukano AMV's Otaku Lyrics 301. I actually don't know what 301 is supposed to mean. I hope that's not like the 301st time they've done this. I don't actually know. But this is basically like a bad lip... I'm sorry, this is from Najbad that's requesting this. But this is like a kind of a bad lip reading of anime OPs where they take the lyrics and... it sounds like they're saying butt and shit, and... Yeah, you know... It's just kind of doing the bad lip reading. Like, they say the funny thing. They have like the thing over it. You know, there's things I am kind of smitten with this sometimes, and sometimes it is kind of funny, and cheeky. But gosh, I feel like there's just so much more you could do with this, and it's like another instance of like we're past this point, guys. I feel like we could do better than this. Not like, you know, it's like, you know, it kind of is what it is. But they're using this, like, I think this came out 2015, August 2015. And you can tell with the clips they're choosing here, because it's a lot of Parasite. Like, they almost play the entire OP of Parasite, but they just splice it up throughout the fucking video. I guess they were really enamored with the Parasite OP that they had to do the whole thing. And it was just really weird because they kept cutting back to it. Because when you watch a video like this and you watch the first couple of seconds, you're not anticipating them to come back to one of their examples and then keep coming back to it. Maybe twice is kind of funny, but the 5th time, it's like, come on, why didn't you just play the whole P while you're at it? Or just, like, choose the best one. Like, they kept revisiting the same couple OPs every single time. And it got really weird and annoying, kind of, repetitive. And it's like, you know, you didn't seem to have the self-control or the artistic eye to choose one of the clips. It's like, if you're gonna take the whole thing, choose. Well, if you're gonna like take multiple ones, choose one. You know, or if you're gonna do like Naruto, maybe if you want to do multiple OPs, but like of the same show, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, maybe just do all the Naruto OPs or whatever. And I get maybe you don't want to like, you know, but then it's like you can splice them up, but. I don't know how you would avoid copyright ID from this anyway. So why not just play the OP? I guess that's kind of the reason why they're not doing it, was because of the copyright ID. But like they're still playing the OP at like, you know, less, like more than 5 seconds. So I don't know how they avoid it if they ever do. But yeah, it's very juvenile humor. Other than that, it's kind of is what it is again. I did think it was funny at points, but there was that feeling where it kept coming back to Parasite over and over. I'm like, the fuck? And a lot of the choices were very obvious 24, like, recent shows at the time. Like, and so it seems very random now. Like, very niche shows, all things, like, in the grand scheme of things. That's kind of the funny thing when making videos that are seasonal, and you're kind of referencing a lot of the seasonal stuff that's kind of happening. It's, like, hot in the moment. And then you're visualizing it, and you're like, well, that's weird. So it's like Himaru Emoto-chan, which is in the thumbnail. I butchered that name. I'm sorry. Like Shingeki no Bahamut's in here. Parasite, obviously. Fate Unlimited Blade Works, right? And it's all from this period of like 2014 to 2015 or so, which is just kind of funny. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. There's other points that I was like, they didn't say it. Come on, you're forcing that. You're forcing that joke. You're forcing that phrase or whatever, and it's or just like you keep, yeah, because every time they use she, they make it sound like shit or whatever, and they can't. I don't know. What I like about bad lip reading is that they're not intentionally trying to be trashy or edgy or gross out humor or anything like that. Like the most outrageous thing you can say, or most nonsensical. Like they really toe the line of like nonsense and you're making some coherent sense. Like they're coherent sentences for the most part, but the content itself is very weird and nonsensical. Stuff like that. And there's hints of that in this video, but it's just kind of... yeah, no, I'm kind of reacting to a meme video of sorts. But, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And we're going to talk about videos that I thought were decent. Decent. But, yeah. I gotta admit, there were a lot of videos this week that I really didn't care. I clicked off of them, and I watched most of that. Like I watched most of the video, and at the end I was like, I have nothing to say about it. And I don't. I like the lightning round thing for sure. And I'll do that for sure. But it's like there was parts where I was like very, very indifferent towards, to where I'd be kind of mean. I might get kind of mean, and the person probably wouldn't deserve it. So it's like, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to talk about the videos that I have something to say about, at least. Got this YouTuber, That Japanese Man Yuta, put out a video, Why Naruto Speaks Weird Japanese. And this is not really his typical content, I don't think. It seems to be his bread and butter is interviewing random Japanese people on the street of what they think about various things, I suppose. Mostly, his most popular stuff is like foreigners, like, aha, foreigners. I don't know. But this is talking about how certain language that Naruto himself uses, he mentions his other characters, but the video mostly focuses on Naruto and why he's using this certain phrase, and kind of talking through the nuance of it, and I like it. It's really interesting. It's certainly not a perspective anyone else is going to talk. None of us know fucking Japanese, of course not. No, but and so I like this a lot, and I figured I thought I knew it at first, where it's like, oh, it's just a little extra dialect thing, and it is, but he implies there's a lot more nuance to it, but I don't know if his point was completely. I don't know if his point got completely across. The point I got out of this video that he was kind of saying was, hey, English is never going to give you the nuances that the Japanese have. So yeah, obviously he's not even talking about dubs. He's talking about the subtitles. And so he's like, well, the only way you can really get these nuances that are super cool is if you learn Japanese. Right? It's like that argument. And it's like, and what's worse, you can learn Japanese if you take my class, if you join my email list, and I can teach you Japanese and teach you these cool nuances. It's like, this sounds like someone wants to sell me something. It felt like that, and it was like, I don't know. But like I like the information he's giving here, and I think it could be fine in the video itself, and just learn that. But I wasn't a fan that the ultimate lesson is, look, don't read and don't use English subtitles. It seemed was the conclusion to this. It's like, what the fuck? Because it's like, because yes, I think there is nuance and detail that is lost. Absolutely. Does that mean the entire show is going to be invalidated from this loss of information? No. No. You think about Naruto as one of the most popular and successful franchises that were in the West. It was a hit. It didn't matter if the audiences, they were watching the dub. They didn't even know Naruto had this dialect to him. Like, even if you watch the subtitles, you might not get the nuances in, like, a language sense, but at least you hear it and you know there's something to that, and you might be able to catch up on that, right? But even the dub, it's a popular show, and it's a great, and there's some success to it. There's other merits to an anime besides these little nuggets, right? And I had this, and there was someone I'm a mutual with. They were remiss about Evangelion not being able to recommend it to their friends and family on Netflix. They can't recommend it to watch it on Netflix because it doesn't have Fly Me to the Moon. It has a lot of they don't translate a lot of the words that are on screen. You know, it uses a lot of those things. And, of course, there's various problems with the translation or whatever. And I get that. There's lots of problems. There's problems with that. But to not recommend the show at all because of that? Really? Do you really think Evangelion is not going to be considered a good show because it doesn't have Fly Me to the Moon at the end? Like, it completely makes it like a 4 out of 10? No! The show is fantastic. Like, for so many merits that are universal, right? That are very easily apparently not, because there's a lot of people that don't like Ava. You know, what can you do? But the show's fantastic on its own. I think these little merits are really great to talk about. I'm definitely saying you should definitely talk about them. But to go to these logical extremes and say you should learn Japanese, you shouldn't use the English subtitles, or, you know, completely dismiss a dub, or completely don't recommend a show because the only the only legal way to watch it isn't complete or the truest whatever. I don't think that's right, personally. Also, but, you know, there's a lot of useful information in here. I think it was very interesting, and he's pretty. He seems pretty passionate about it. I did like him as a presence in the video, although there's parts of the actual video editing that's a little jank, because, like, the way he shows the language, the text itself is very rudimentary. He has the footage of himself talking in the corner, and then text on the top right, and there's a lot of wasted space. But then, you know, that wouldn't be such a big deal. Like, oh, big deal. But then there's a part where he has 4 different sentences, and the 4th sentence is cut off by his video. the way it's organized. You see what I mean? You're literally... So, you know, that's kind of a problem. I guess it's not a big problem. But you see what I mean? Didn't fully take away from the video, but that doesn't invalidate the video just because of this little problem. You see what I mean? This is kind of a simple... I don't have too much to say about this, but it's a moment. TheMadThad came back. I guess they had a channel, and I was subscribed to it, but I just don't know. I haven't been following their journey closely. But it seems they've been making videos for a couple years, and they privated all of them. They've been slowly putting a few of them back on public, some hits of theirs, and it seems to be very general otaku anime things. They don't seem to have a particular specialty or anything like that. But he's wanted to get a clean slate, and he's back officially on this channel after having a little flirtation with a smaller channel. And I like that he was talking a lot more personally about struggling with burnout and not feeling like, you know, he didn't like the videos he was making and felt like he had to make to please the algorithm and stuff like that. So he's starting fresh, and that's exciting. So, you know, kind of a new stage for him. It's not much of like entertaining video on its own or anything like that, but it is certainly a moment that I want to come to your attention. That hopefully he's gonna start making some new content. This is exciting. Seems kind of fun. Sorry, the video is called "What Happened to Anime Taicho" update video. It's kind of sorry. I usually try to do that. Anyway, yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. It was very rambly. Very, very hard to follow, but I got some of the keyer points. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Anyway, I got a Vic and Hope video again. they're posting a lot, okay? If it's an active channel, it's hard not to talk about, right? There's that balance of like, man. But they're cranking it. They're really doing some good shit. And they started a series, or maybe that's a previous series I wasn't familiar with. I don't know. Little Girls, Adult Problems, Alien 9, half-hour sort of podcast sort of thing. Seemed to be done in one take. Of Vic and Hope, finally one with Hope in it, and she seems to actually more like leading the conversation in this because this is one of her favorite anime. The leading conversation talking about Alien 9. Vic had never seen it, and he had just started, so he watched it as he talked about it as a first-time viewer, as first experiencing it with fresh eyes, and Hope, as someone who has seen this series a while ago, and is one of her favorites. So this was a really good mix of perspectives, and I think they bounce off each other very well, which is great considering they're married. yeah. I would hope that would be nice, for sure. But this is really cool, and I think Hope had a lot of insight into this, and she really comes from a place of passion, not just like blind passion. It's like, oh, I love this show, and it's not like, some people love a show, but they have a lot of substanceless things to say about it. And it can be like that sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes that comes off. I watched another video. I'm not really going to mention it, but it felt like that, where she was like, this one YouTuber was like, I love that show, and I didn't have too much specific things, but I really liked what Hope was talking about with this, and Vic was coming in with a very open mind and a very good foil, I suppose, or kind of a bounce-off point as someone who had not experienced it before and kind of as a newcomer, which was really interesting. They kind of talk beat for beat about the show, which I appreciated because I hadn't seen it in a while. Full disclosure, I did not like this show when I watched it. When I watched it, I thought it was very miserable. I really didn't like the main character, and I just wasn't vibing with the aesthetic either. But I was an elitist back then. I was quite the snob, actually. And I'm way past that phase, and I have it pulled up on my browser. I was going to watch it after I recorded Digest, actually, rewatch it, because I've been following an account that randomly posts like Alien 9 gifs, so I keep it in my mind, and there's plenty of positive reception for it, and including this video. So I was like, I really got to give it another shot. Because I think I have a better perspective and better taste. I'm not a fool, but I'm hoping to like it. And this was a really good, convincing. And I was really happy. I watched it too because it really gets me in the right frame of mind. Where one of my problems with it was that the main character really seems like she's bullied and pressured into really horrible situations. And yes, she is, and that they're not, and they really defend it as like, that is how it is, and they do that because it's kind of allegorical for, or is that the word? I don't know. It's allegorical for prepubescent girls, what they get societally pressured into, and the various traumas they're kind of forced into doing. Against their will, without much reason. And it's really dumb and bad. So it was like, oh yeah, you know what? I understand now. Okay, wow. So I didn't have that perspective at all, and that was very helpful. But it was really chill. I really liked this. They put out another one this week about Bloodlust Vampire, something like that. That was also on the docket, but and also Vic put out another one of his like formal rants in front of a green screen and stuff. And I wanted to watch that, and I was like, so much good content. These guys are doing it. Like this is sick. Like it's really exciting. This is definitely a channel to look out for. Honestly, I get that a lot of people, they've had a previous audience of people who are enjoying their Let's Plays their Let's Play series. But this seems to be just kind of different, but still like kind of stream of consciousness, but a little more concerted and a little more focused on anime, which is really cool. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on this channel. It's pretty dope. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's an anime con convention that happened online. Oh, mate. And you may have seen that Funimation did one too, but this is, from what we can gather, the first, I think. Anime Lockdown was what it was called, and they had a whole Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whole thing. And specifically, they live streamed on Twitch mostly. They tried to do YouTube, but then they got copyright ID'd, I suppose, and got their live streams taken down. So they seem to be pretty sheepish on releasing all of the con panels that they did, but they released a number of them this week, and I was there live for the Discotheque panel, which was awesome. They announced Memories is coming to Blu-ray with a new dub that I did help work on, which is pretty freaking cool. But this is I did check out the Q&A for Kyle Hebert. Heber? I think it's Hebert. And, you know, it was a pretty traditional Q&A, and I liked a lot of what he was saying about what it's like being with quarantine as a voice actor and what they're dealing with, and various perspectives on the industry and stuff. It's always nice to see professional perspectives in this way, and answering questions like, what does this mean for voice actors in the future? Do they have to move to LA now? Do you think that norm is going to be kind of quashed the way it, you know, it's been bent a couple of times, but you know, a veteran of the industry, been around since the Dragon Ball dub, since the 2000. So been doing this for a while, and always good to hear that perspective as well. Not too much to say about it. It kind of speaks for itself, but I wanted to draw attention to Anime Lockdown as a channel and all the various archived panels that they have. They're all, you know, about an hour long. You know, I could have chosen a more like, you know, panel that like somebody cooked up, but a lot of them seemed kind of weird. And, you know, I didn't really want to click on any of them. Kyle Hebert there, I was like, oh, yeah, comment a voice actor, maybe there's some insight, because you know, I'm personally working on something like that. He hasn't even finished the show. He actually was like really sad that like Kamina died. Sorry, whatever. He was really sad, and I guess he never actually finished watching the whole show, which is just weird. It's just kind of it really dawns on me. It's like, yeah, voice actors will just have the dub. They'll just dub these parts and then never watch the show itself. I get being like, you know, they don't want to listen to their work or anything, but even if you just watched it subbed, it's like, weird. So that was interesting. Not too much else to say about it though. But yeah, check it out. I finally get to talk about a Nearly on Red video that's like one of his bread and butters, his calling card of sorts. Land of the Lustrous, episode 7 analysis, not quite daily show. I don't know why he calls it that at this point, because he started doing this when the show was airing in fall of 2017? Was it fall of 2018? I don't remember. No, it was fall of 2018, wasn't it? No, it was 17. I don't remember. He was doing it as it was airing. And then just couldn't, you know, had to move on to other things, and other stuff got in the way. He got caught with like Sony copyright strikes and crap. He has not had it easy on YouTube, unfortunately. But yes, that is an hour and 28 minutes of analysis of one episode. And the thing with it is that doesn't really... It doesn't resonate to me as like really good, even if I love the show. I love Land of the Lustrous. I really like it. And I like the analysis. I think all of it is very thoughtful. Very, very thoughtful. And the guy's sharp, I think. As concise as he needs to be. I don't think he's like padding it out. You know, like some of these guys, it's like, it gets kind of repetitive and kind of monotonous and stuff. A lot of it flew over my head, of course. I don't think that doesn't necessarily equate to it being followable and digestible in the same way other long YouTube videos are, I think. That is difficult. So not too much knocking on that. But yeah, he does talk about just this episode pretty much, and breaks it down into like themes and characters and various things. But the real kicker to this is he has not seen past episode 7. He makes these, and all of them are about the same length, pretty much. He makes this long of an analysis without any context of the show as a whole. And so there is a section of speculation where he's like, maybe this is going to happen next in the plot, even though all of us have seen it. And also have read ahead in the manga, like way ahead in the manga at this point. Like the manga's gone way further. And it's just weird to see one have this much thought in, but it's still valid. It's all pretty much very valid analysis, I think, and him really talking about it, not trying to theory bait anything. It doesn't seem like that much, but it's like, it is strange. Because I feel like a full insight of the show, I just think would just be so much more valuable with an analysis like this, because it's like, you know where the story is going. But I don't know. I guess that's why his Made in Abyss, his last episode of that was like 3.5 hours or something, because it was more of a collective of the show itself, I suppose. But even that is not a complete story. I mean, there's a sequel movie now. What's he gonna do there? 5 hours? Not to joke on not to dunk on my guy. There's a lot of hard work to this, and he seems really smart and thoughtful, and really good comment section. He's really good at like responding to feedback and having his own little community. Not by any stretch outreaching to any of us. Fair. Understand. I get that. But he is not looking for that. He's really out on his own. He's been mostly doing Twitch stuff now. And it seems to be working pretty well for him. And TBH, I'm thinking of doing something similar. So I've been having a thought about it for a while, but I need the right equipment first. Which might happen soon. I swear. You're like, yeah, you're recording on someone else's camera now, and yeah, I'm sure that computer's coming along real quick. Guys, I mean, I don't want to talk about it, because it's not to do with Digest, but guys, it might happen. Anyway, sorry, but it's really, I am jealous at points where it's like, man, gosh, there's so much analysis, and a lot of really good points, and really thoughtful, and it's good stuff. I don't like fuck with all of it in a full sense. I really think so my favorite part of this video was him talking about the Buddhist parallels and kind of the connections that has. And he says that he only analyzes based on the content of the show itself. He's not trying to pull, this is just like this thing and this thing. He's not doing an hour and 28 minutes. He doesn't do that once. Except here. This is the first time he's actually done that. And I don't think that usually his videos are this long. So, I think at least. But, yeah, he talks about the Buddhist connections here. And once he starts cracking into that, and he gives his rationale for it, and also the concerns that he has about doing it. And he's like, look, I'm not an expert. And he has all these disclaimers and stuff like that. And he's really thinks about this stuff. He's not looking out to do something, right? And he's not like, but he's really, being earnest about it and honest. But with all those disclaimers aside, I think he nails it. I think that's my favorite part of the video. That was the part where I was most engaged. And, he doesn't even use that many visual aids, I don't think. He used a little. But it mostly is just the show and his talking, him filming himself. But I think it was the most kind of like engaging part of it, and honestly, that could have been its own video on its own. Like but again, I think it would be even more fully realized if you have the context of the full show itself. Because I just feel you can't help but feel that there's something missing. Right? It's like, but it's just really weird to see this much depth and out. He's blowing these other episode reviewers out of the fucking water. Like, it's not even fucking close. He makes them look like complete newbies, absolute jokes. But then they're getting more views and subscribers because they're talking about the popular shit, and on a timely, prompt manner. So, come see, come saw, I suppose. But yeah, God, he's killing it. Look, best of luck with him and everything, because his plans were quite the wrench with the quarantine and all that. He had the whole update video, and then this quarantine happened, and it's like, no, we're doing something else now. Because he was planning to do this for ReZero. And then ReZero didn't air for it until the summer. So, if at all, we'll see. Anyway, interesting video, for sure. Check it out. And, I did want to talk about Steve reviews. He doesn't talk about anime all that much. He mostly talks about the dark and mature cartoons. I think he talked about Watership Down, that, ultraviolet bunny thing, which I've seen, and it's good. But it's like, it's that stuff. It's like, oh, okay. Pretty generic review of Akira, but I think it's pretty passable. Actually, it was a weird vibe I was getting. Because it's like, oh, it's Akira, I think it definitely could have come off as that, as like, just another Akira video, whatever. But I liked this, there was this vibe he was getting as he was coming from a newcomer, and he was coming from not like a, gents, this is Akira. He wasn't coming from that, which is so tired at this point, if you approach Akira like that. But he was coming at this not like I wouldn't go so far to the other side and say like, oh, he was a complete newbie. He's like, whoa, what the fuck? But he was a new viewer. He definitely was. And he was like, I had to watch it twice to really get everything that was going on. A little bit of a manga preference thing. And he's like, oh, I wish, because the pace was weird in the middle and whatever. But it was a pretty fair review and kind of clear-eyed, I guess is the word I would use. Where it just felt very like, he wasn't trying to inform you of what Akira is about necessarily. It didn't feel like that, at least to me. But just wanted to mention that. I thought it was a decent video all the way through. Interesting. Well then, let's talk about the best videos of the week, shall we? I say so. Let's talk about Mudan's video, The Problem with Isekai. Now, full disclaimer, I watched this with the Gamer Bros, with some other anime YouTubers. We're in a chat together and watched it together, laughed together. Didn't talk much during it, but oohing and ahhing at some of the various transitions and effects that Mudan pulls here, because he's gonna have that shit, and yeah, he delivers, of course. But I'm putting it in best of the, and we did have a little talk afterwards, discussing it of the merits of it and everything, because I definitely don't think it's like definitive in a way that it could have, regardless of the content itself, I think, or just like the meat of what Mudan was saying in this video. I think on a base level, it really is representing a new level for him creatively. There really seems to be an air of he cared a lot more about the script of this one. He cared a lot more about the visual presentation and various through lines throughout it, and like this idea of a mad scientist and like very different chemicals and predicting, like using very, Mentos and stuff. It's like, like it's really great. The structure of this video is really sound, and I really like the points he's obviously making. He's not talking out his ass anymore, which personally I kind of felt like he was a lot of in his previous videos, where he's kind of standing in front of a green screen kind of ranting a bit. And it's fine if it's a rant, right? But there was sort of, it produced some stuff like his Slice of Life video, which it's not good. I still don't think it's it's yikes. But this isn't about that, but again, it really seems like he's concentrating a lot more on the script and using his talents for an end result that's really fantastic. Even for his regular videos, I think this was just on a different level, and it represented an evolution of his content that I hope he sticks with, because maybe it's like too much, maybe it's like too much stress and maybe he wants to dial it back later. I can understand that too, if there's like a, because for people like me, or like I think Man-Mode's gone through this too. Once you hit this level, you don't feel like going backwards. You don't feel like it feels it's really hard to go back. And there's a challenge to that, because it's like, well, now we have to make this super ambitious shit, and we never make a video again. Not like we're not making videos, but it just takes us infinitely longer, which is annoying. So so I get if Mudan would like this video did take a while for him to make. There was a long stint of him not putting anything out, which was in stark contrast to his previous efforts where he was putting out a video pretty regularly. But so I can understand. I don't know where he goes from here, but to me, I really liked this new direction, and I really liked the more effort into the actual script and into the visual presentation. And again, I think the editing is just as good as it ever is. It's always constantly creative, surprising. What? Like, where did you come up with that? Or just, God, I wish I could do that, or something like that, right? All the time. All of us watching it, we're like, damn. It's a good feeling, to be honest with you. It's awesome. But yeah, and so like, I think that the thing we were sort of debating, or we're talking about a little later, some people, I hate to make it, talk about other people's back or private conversation, I don't know. But the actual content, I think, is really well researched. Like, you actually knew your shit, knew the sources to talk about, and had the stats to back it up. Although, I mean, there was parts of me where it was like, you're using a lot of Mal stats, and I get Mal's a decent aggregate, but you could also do like, Blu-ray sales or something like that. I know that like at least the United States is not going to have something like that, I don't think. But I know that usually there is data for that. At least for 2016, I would imagine there's data for that. But regardless, your point was definitely made, but that's a small gripe. But like, it had a lot of actual good points. But then the premise, the initial premise and kind of what the answer was seemed a little muddled to me, or just not too clear. So it's like, is there a problem? I like the initial question you pose at the beginning, like after you show these other people, posing it as some sort of problem when it really isn't much of a problem. And I think that was the direction you were going with. But I was saying that, like, I feel like the title could have been "Is there a problem with isekai?" Because I think that's more of what you're asking here. But I get a couple problems with SEO. I like the SAO, and Hiding also really liked the SEO joke. That was really good. But I can understand like some people will be a little lukewarm to it, where it's like there weren't too many like bombshell truth bombs or anything like that, or really big, profound, much sort of thing. It's very level-headed and more nuanced. And I think with a nuanced take like this, it's bound to not be very hyperbolic or like having this definitive whatever. So I can but I can understand some being a little underwhelmed by that. But I think that's why that's where it comes from. I think is you're taking it very level-headedly, really looking at it like kind of on a objective kind of metric. And I think the ultimate point you were making was it's fine. It's totally fine that the isekai come out. I think the best point you make is everyone complaining about how many isekai there are, and then it's like, yeah, but look how many romance anime are coming out, or look how many sci-fi anime are coming out every season. Like that, it's a similar number. Or like, manga adaptations or something. It's like the saturation wasn't super out of the ordinary in the way other people were perceiving it. It's not as big of a deal. But again, it's just really well informed for people who had no idea about this sort of stuff. I think for those of us who are a little more familiar, I was watching this at first, and knowing that you took a lot from, you were aware at least of what Pots and Select was coming from, and determining what was and wasn't an isekai, which I think you did very, very, very good articulating that and illustrating that with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and everything. That was really cool. And I like your justification too with maybe why authors want to do something like that, because they don't want to put in all this research on this topic or something, only to get shat on by people who actually know the topic. Though it's like, at that point, just get immersed with the topic. It's like, that's not stopping Haikyuu from writing about volleyball, or George Morikawa writing about boxing with Hajime no Ippo, or you think about all these other shonen series that really immerse themselves in their respective real-life universes. There are wine mangas or potato... I don't think it's a potato manga. But a lot of these do put the effort in. But I understand a lot of novice writers are intimidated by something like that or don't have the appropriate outlet to really foster that research. I don't know. I thought that was a little bit of an incomplete point personally, but I really like the fact that you made it where it's like, yeah, it's understandable why a lot of these amateur writers gravitate to stories like this. Totally fair. But yeah, I really liked, again, I think the point was, it's totally fine. That there really isn't much of a problem per se. And, you know, it's funny because it's like, you look at the seasons recently, it's like there isn't too much isekai, and it kind of stopped. It actually just kind of, because there's a wave. There's ReZero that came out and spurred a bunch of productions, and then, but there's still a couple still coming out, still based on these web novels that are from this website in particular. They're still being made because there's not enough flops yet, but there's certainly going to be a burnout, I think. As you said, there's not many people experimenting or doing new things with the genre. And it reminded me a lot of the Super Robot wave of the 70s, where once Mazinger came out and then Get a Robo, and then everybody wanted to do a Super Robot show, and then there was just too many of them. They're just coming out every year. Like, that was the majority of this. It was literally saturated the way isekai is. Only there's less shows coming out overall, so even more so, like, percent-wise, way more saturated. And they were actually really tired of that. As described by Yoshiyuki Tomino during this Gundam documentary, which I do reference in my latest video talking about this exact thing, where they're where it's a trend and it was kind of declining, and they needed a reinvention. They needed something different. They needed Mobile Suit Gundam, and Gundam was really like catapulted it and brought it worldwide acclaim, and is the reason mecha anime is still being made in general. Maybe not to the fervor it once had ever. It is on kind of a bit of a sparseness. But yeah, that's kind of why. But anyway, that's a different thing. But yeah, no, I really like this video, of course, and I'm more excited with the promise of this, of what this could possibly mean for your channel. It's really, 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 really exciting. I also like the Gigik call out. It's all your fault. Got a banger from CynicClinic. This is a great channel. He's so cool. He's got like, you can tell he talks a lot to like Gil and Joe and everything, because they got similar vibes and everything, and it really comes through. But he's very funny here. Brevity's the soul of wit is kind of what he's hearkening from here, and he's doing a very cliche type of style of video, but obviously with the panache of somebody with a creative bone in their body. God. This is reviewing 25 of his favorite anime in one sentence or less. It's nice that it's his favorites and not simply every or random fucking choices, but there's very carefully selected ones. Or maybe not carefully selected, I don't know. But clearly something the choices he does care about and would want to put some thought into. And the actual quips he has are really interesting, and they're both informative to his perspective and what he loves about them, but also just in general. But because I literally learned things about these anime that I did not know about, and I didn't think that would be possible. For example, did you know that Castle of Cagliostro was made in 7 fucking months? 7 months! 7 months! Yeah, I am as furious as he is in this video. He's like, it physically hurt, like he said, I don't know what he says here, but it's like, it's really annoying to know there's people that talented that can pull off that shit in such a short amount of time kind of deal. It's like, yeah, I feel that so fucking badly. Or like, how Nausicaa is reduced, AniTubers have reduced it to, it's just the first draft for Princess Mononoke. I felt that so bad. But it's really visually, it's gore. It's such a cool fucking video because like he has his like I think he draws for a lot of but it's purely the drawing in this case. But he's kind of quick sketching each of these anime and stuff and the various doodle and everything, and the actual aesthetic of it is so immersive and engaging, and just awesome. God, I love it. It's so cool. And also, at the end, he recommends one show that I did not hear anything about, and he's like the GOAT, pinnacle of creativity animation or something. What the fuck was it called? I put it on my plan to watch, and I was like, what is that? And it had on frickin' Kitsu at least, I know it's not Mal or nothing, but like it did not have a good rating. It did not have a good score. So I don't know if it's a joke. It's the first Flash anime. It's the first anime that was completely made in Flash, but it's like in 2006 or something. So that's pretty significant, very interesting, very ahead of its time. But I don't know if he's joking. I don't. Because like, well, how have you not talked about it on your channel then? If it's so special to you, I don't know. But there's things about that. But I was suspecting foul play. Oh my god, I totally forgot. There's a video that was on Joe's channel that I completely forgot to talk about. It was deleted. That must have been it. There was because they're on my watch. I don't watch the videos until afterwards. I do like a watch later or something. And one of the videos on Digest that was on my watch later was privated or deleted or something. And me being the forgetful bastard I am, I'm just like, oh, what is that? Click on it. It doesn't show the title, obviously. It wasn't taken out for copyright. It was just taken out by this user. And it doesn't give you any record of what that video was. Of course. So, I was like, what? But I think I remember what it was. Let me find it. Yeah, I mentioned this because this was on Joe's server, and I think somebody tagged me to talk about this on Digest. It was by a user called Bursucker, and she put a video out called "You Are Not a Lolicon or Shotacon, You Are More Than That." And I guess it's just, one of those videos of accusing everybody who likes this stuff as pedophiles. Ha. And it was really, 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 really bad, apparently. I was like, whoo, that's a lot of dislikes. Whoo. And it was her first video. Why would you make that your first video? Why would you do that? It's baffling. And obviously I wanted to talk about it, and I probably would have given it a not good if I didn't like it. But it would have been interesting. Interesting to talk about. But she took it down. And apparently because, there's a lot of people debunked a lot of stuff she talked about or inconsistencies and stuff, and she just retracted it and was like, I want to make a better video on the topic. So it's like, at least there's some self-awareness to this. Good Lord. I don't remember all of the comments of what they were saying exactly, but like, it was not good. People were, and obviously this is like, kind of a politicized thing, but I was just coming from someone as like, because I don't give that much of a shit. I was coming here and was like, why would you make that your first video? And like, obviously the fucking 4chan people found this, or some message board found this and tore it the fuck apart. Oh my god. It was just like, yeah, but that was fun without me even seeing it. Yeah, I guess we'll have that to look forward to if it comes out. We'll see. I know it has nothing to do with CynicClinic's video, but that literally did occur to me as I was talking. But yeah, really good video, as usual. We got another DBZ YouTuber. They're actually really good. At least they've gotten pretty good as of late, it seems. Totally not Mark, which, got a little antsy kind of vibes, because it's one of those, it's just Dragon Ball. He just talks about Dragon Ball. But not that there's anything wrong with that. But he starts this video. So first of all, what is this video? Fixing Dragon Ball Super's bad artwork and the anatomy of anime. That's kind of a yikes, right? That's kind of a... So you're making it better. I can do better than this. Comes off that way, right? Yee. Doesn't sound very good when you think of the kind of like the pompous Dragon Ball, a lot of these bands are calling these people to be fired and not considering the animators and not caring too much about the details. Like, I can do better than this and shit like that. And it comes off like that. And so it's definitely going to get the viewership. But thank God, he's not that douchebag. In fact, he apologizes for one of his biggest videos of him shitting on like Dragon Ball Episode 5 or whatever, Super Episode 5 that everyone shat on, and apologizing for it. It's like, I acted very rudely and without any consideration for the animators and the time constraints they were under and the conditions of the industry and everything. Like, you just don't get it. It's like, yeah, it's poor, but there's reasons behind it, and it needs to have sympathy behind it. But this was ultimately to prove a point, which they talk about 10 individual frames that they correct, and it's him and two other artists. It's nice that he's drawing it himself and it isn't just talking at it, having. But it's him and two others, and they redraw 10 frames from the show that are kind of notoriously bad. Ultimately, the end of the video, he's like, I want to let you guys know the real reason I want you to take away from this. This is how long it took each of us to draw these 10 frames. They do not have this time to do this. They draw 5,000 drawings an episode, and they have this amount of time to do it. And check them, and do other things besides drawing. There's no way. It's a very thankless task. Very thankless. And it's really important to have the understanding of that and know the people behind it. Throughout the video, when they're correcting, they're doing kind of a time lapse of them redrawing these things. They talk about their process of why it's not very good, who was in charge of it, how did it get like this, and most importantly, what could be done better, I suppose. But they don't dwell too much on that, obviously. But like it really is an insight on how anal retentive these DBZ YouTubers are. They are way deep into it. It's like, this is how Vegeta should look, kind of deal. But it's based on the character model sheets. It's based on the character sheets that are specific for that production. They're not trying to make it look like DBZ, right? They are, and what's also great is they're not, at the very beginning of the video, this is not about in-betweens. They're like, here's shots like this that you know about, we're not correcting that, because that is an in-between. That is not a keyframe that an artist behind drew and they are responsible for. This is a keyframe. If this is poor, that's something to criticize. That's something to fix, potentially. And they do fix them for Blu-rays and stuff like that. But even then they have time constraints. So it's just really informative. And he's talking about these individuals behind these episodes and really giving the information, kind of similar to Anime AJ, who is a feature on this video. He helps a lot with the information and research behind this and the information you get from this. It's a very informative video and very unmalicious, very, very fair and informative and passionate, because they really do care about this stuff. And they're not just ridiculing these artists at all. And, this is what they could do. And they even, they actually draw in the style of these artists. They're not just making some fucking fan art. They really are really having an awareness and an analysis of these animation directors and the people behind these shots and how they would have drawn them. And I love that, because it shows a amount of care for the property and for the people behind it. It really is with compassion. I think that, showing compassion in a video is key, is really, really important, because otherwise it's going to be really nauseating to other people. Maybe not to everybody. Maybe other people kind of want to get a little action of that or whatever and feel vindicated or something. But I think compassion is so fucking important for a video like this. And I'm very happy that Mark really came through with it. And I think it's a fantastic video. And I love that he apologized at the beginning and the end of the video, and having reflection on himself and everything, and showing a willingness to improve and become a better person through it. It's so good. It's good. It's really good. And damn it. Eyepatch Wolf again. With he is getting so good at this. And it had some vibes. Okay. Why you should watch Outlaw Star is the video, okay? And he talks about some various kind of reminiscent to his previous videos, where he starts to talk about color theory and various things, like, you know, because there was times in his earlier work where he would bring these subjects up and he wouldn't really have a full understanding, or kind of a little manipulative to really get to his point. But God, he's just gotten so much better. Thank God, it's awesome, and it's great. And I really like his review of Outlaw Star here. It really is just a review, but again, reinventing it to that it doesn't feel like a review at all, even though by the numbers it pretty much is. But it's so thoughtful, and it really made me, because I watched Outlaw Star not that long ago, probably a year at this point. A year, wow, God, probably about a year ago at this point. Yeah. But I do not remember it being like this, to be honest. Not that I didn't like it. I do like it. But like the appreciation for the backgrounds in this, and the vibes it was giving, and describing some of the episodes, I was like, I remember that episode. I don't remember that episode. And it was stuff like that. I was like, huh. It was like, it really made me feel like, oh, I didn't really pay much attention, huh? I don't know. But well, yeah, what can you do? But it was really, really good, and not sucking its dick too much, like is the best shit ever. In fact, I really like his introspection towards in the last third of this video, where he talks about wanting to make a video like this because it meant a lot to him. And then rewatching it at the time, like 2 years ago, when he was in this, he's cranking videos out and everything. He was in that kind of the phase that he's later seen as a little toxic, a little reflecting on it, and it's like, yeah, I couldn't bring myself to make that video because I didn't feel that same passion that I had for it when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, it really meant a lot for me for this and this reason. And it didn't have that problem anymore at the time. But when I'm stuck in quarantine and I can't see my friends and I'm missing the big wide world and I feel claustrophobic and I feel all these things, Outlaw Star was a really, really great show to go back to. And a really important, thing to experience in this difficult time. Maybe it'll be good for you too. That's why you should watch out. That was easily the best. That's why you should watch this show, because every other conclusion he has is decent. I think it's a little camp, a little melodramatic, I guess is the word. But like, this felt really earned. This felt really sincere and like really like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, And again, I'm really happy he's talking about a show that really doesn't get coverage at all, and addresses that very, very tastefully, and not like a beating around the bush about it, because he is a big Bebop fan. He's already made a big Bebop video, the typical, right? And he really acknowledges it as like, yeah, it lives in its shadow, and not very fairly, because they're very different. But he's just like, I do relate to Bebop now because of how I grew up, but I related to Outlaw Star back then, sort of deal. But he really appreciates it for its own elements, and really, he didn't even bring any downsides at all. He didn't really talk about any downsides. It was really positive, actually. And his description of it in the episodes and everything was really great, and it's good. It's a really, really good video on Outlaw Star. I was really happy with it. And it's sick in terms of this digest, in terms of the actual page and everything. I think it's the best video of the week. But look, I want to plug one more thing, and it's not YouTube, but it's a video. It's videos, and they'll be linked in the description under the playlist, hopefully. But there are Twitter threads of Mike Toole and Miles from Crunchyroll. Yeah. Miles started it, and then Mike kind of copied him. For every like this tweet gets, I'll share one DVD from my collection. And other people, you may have seen this trend, but I think these two in particular I can't get enough of them. I love watching every single video of theirs. I think they're probably going to stop. They're going to peter out a little bit. So it was really just kind of for this week, maybe. Because they obviously got a lot of likes, and their collections are not vastly huge, and they don't have things to say about everything. But it was really fun. It was very casual. Miles starting the trend, basically, where he just throws up a DVD. He's like, yeah, this is really good. This is, random stray thought that he has on it. I love that. And it was really cool to see insight from them and their opinions on various stuff, and very cool things they have, and tidbits they would have no other context to talk about for any other reason, and just kind of information they have, and it was really interesting, and not just about anime either. It was really it was a fair deal for Mike Toole, at least. There was a lot of Western cartoon stuff on DVD, as well as various live action stuff from live action movies and stuff like that. But it was really more like a physical media powwow. It really felt like kind of being included in this entire industry and culture that still exists. It's still definitely going, but it's not nearly as big as it used to be, because not everyone's into physical media anymore, because either we're not rich enough, or or the thing is, right, a lot of these copies they got were actually very cheap. They just went out of their way to find them, right? And that was because that's their collector's mindset sort of deal. And it's really cool. Justin Svakis also had a Twitter thread like this, although a lot shorter, because he just didn't seem very comfortable doing it. It's fair. But that was really interesting too. And then ProZD had one, but that was literally like his whole collection, and he just kind of rapid fired through all of them, because obviously he got 1,000 likes. But I love these videos, and they were the highlight of my week. I was watching them as they were coming out throughout the whole week, and there's still some that I need to catch up on, actually, because they keep posting them, and they're really fun. I really liked watching all of them. I think if they were compiled into one video, it would be really cool. But that was my favorite video of the week, and it's not necessarily on anime YouTube, so I know it's like AniTube Digest. Come on, dude. Look! I can kind of do what I want. I get within the parameters of some people who make it better or worse, but look, I'm gonna break some eggs sometimes, okay? But I liked it a lot. These are so cool. But look, listen, feel. That's gonna be it for this edition of AniTube Digest. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my patrons especially, including Beamburst, Fluke Morph, Najbeb, My Anime Pod, Unique Nemosaurus, and Yellow Cheese. You guys are so cool. Thank you so much. I will get to DBZ I'm Blue 2 next week. I'll have it. I will put it on my watch later as soon as I stop recording. And if you have, if those other guys have videos you want me to do to talk about, please send them my way. I might be able to do the podcast thing. I might have the funds. I was just thinking about how, like, I'm getting a fair deal of support on Patreon, and I'm not at the point. When I first revamped my Patreon, obviously this pandemic wasn't happening, and things have changed slightly. But that's I don't necessarily need to disclose that on Digest or nothing. But there might be something. I might try working on that. But you guys have a great week. Yo, peace.